staring at your biscuits. There you go. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I totally shared the wrong post.
We are just having a great day here.
This is the day. This is the day.
21/6 the net. It's
I think can you get jet lag just coming back from Colorado? I guess maybe.
I think so.
Possibly.
Yeah, why not?
That's a thing. I don't know. Talking about and I totally did shared the wrong post. For those of you out in La La Land that actually watch my show, wow, there's a close up.
Yeah, you're right there.
Let's see here. So I did totally share.
Hey Jen, good morning.
Who do we got? Hi Jen.
Jen,
hey Jen.
Yeah.
So
Tech Jen.
You want to talk about living low sodium? The things that affect your body.
Yeah.
When you're health compromised or you have issues, you would never think about it in a million years. But I honestly, flying, now that I have nerve damage, that up in a plane, down in a plane, up in a plane, down, because we had to layover. Yeah. So a lot of times, for those of you that don't know, when you fly, you have to lay over in a different wherever. So flying to Colorado, we had to go into Dallas, and then from Denver, and then from Denver took a 15-minute flight to Colorado Springs, and then on our way back, Colorado Springs to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Chicago, and in between that, for the fun of it, we had an extra day. So this was for a sales conference, but for the heck of it, we went to the top of Pikes Peak, which I can tell you right now, if you've ever been to Colorado Springs, if you're going there, take the time to go up to the top of Pikes Peak. If you have the nerve to do it yourself and take the drive up the mountain through the switchbacks, and they actually do races up there, which is nuts.
Switchbacks are crazy. Yeah.
And it's a full-blown U-turn. You're literally like, if you pulled out of your driveway and turned into your neighbor's driveway, you're at 14,000 feet.
And if you miss it, you're off the edge.
So as we're coming down the mountain, someone passed us on a motorcycle with his wife on the back, or whoever, his chick on the back. He's around the switchback. He passed us around the curve, weaving through traffic on the way down the mountain. And at first we're all like, look at this asshole. We couldn't think about it. But then in my brain, I'm thinking of my brother-in-law who races, like he's an NHRA sponsored race car driver. He's also a lineman. Thank you for all the linemen out there who do what you do and risk your lives. But he's the kind of guy who grew up in the Black Hills.
Yeah.
So he's the one. I've been on the back of his bike, and his floorboards are sparking on the highway like sparklers, because they know those mountains so well. So, but when you have an issue and you retain water, not only does the altitude change how you retain water and how your cells and how you do it, and it takes time to acclimate. But because I was only there for a few days, so the first day we went up and down and up and down, and then we barely had a day to relax. And then we went up a mountain, and then we went up and down on an airplane and came home. So it wasn't until I was home for like 24 hours, and I literally couldn't fit pants over my feet. Like that, my calves were huge. It was ridiculous. So of course, it took me a minute because I freaked out at first, like, oh my God, what's going on? But after a few minutes of realizing that because the altitude changes and all of that stuff, that my body just went into overdrive and was like, what the hell are you doing? So between being out of town last week and then this week catching up, I have like 4 brain cells that are functioning. I think the rest are on hiatus.
And of course, all the electronical stuff here is being wonderful today. But
that's probably Pete. I think we have a ghost. We have a ghost in the studio.
I think so. Yeah. I think so, which is cool. Now, the Power of Food series that you've been doing, and we want to help people understand that you're kind of switched and doing series. So then we'll take the month of July off to research and do some work and line up other shows. So that's cool, right? Now, you'll always catch the replays of Living Low Sodium at 11 on Fridays here, but we want everybody to know that they'll be
download the app too.
Yeah, right. So it'll be cool. So I mean, we've met with Organic Roots, Which if you're in the local area, in the Algonquin area, and you want a smoothie,
and Barrington, they just opened a shop in Barrington.
And Barrington. If you're in any of those two areas, go get one of their smoothies. Let me tell you what, don't and plan it on it. It's a meal.
It is.
It's a meal.
It's not, and that's the thing is, it's not. No offense to like the Jamba juices and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that they don't use some real fruits, but they have a lot of other things that they mix in. Whereas organic roots, it's the real deal.
I mean, beeswax.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
they
amazing.
use organic. Oh yeah, it's amazing. We had Maggie from Just Crockett on, which is great, healthy options to for meals for busy families and people on the go. Just absolutely cool. And she's had to pivot a little bit since
I know she had some issues where she was using her commercial kitchen, and the commercial kitchen she was using kind of closed their doors, so she had to find another commercial kitchen because it's not as easy sometimes, depending on the county you live in,
right?
To just kind of pivot and shift gears like that. So yeah, no, we've had some amazing business owners on here. In the Power of Food series, and I wanted to try, because every day I come across more and more people that are in the same series or the same situation where they realize how much food has affected them. So it's fascinating to me when I ask a business owner, and I get it. Like you and I, we're networkers. That's what we do. We talk to people. So it comes very easy for us to say, hey, my name's Mary. What do you do? I'm telling you that as you're walking through and you're wondering if you're the only person that's going through what you're going through, you need to ask someone what they do or why they open their business or why they're doing what they're doing. Because I guarantee you they're probably on a similar path, especially if they're in the food or farm or whatever industry. I would have never in a million years thought that Just Crockett for crockpot meals would have been low sodium.
Right.
And even I felt, you don't, what is that? Practice what I preach or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't follow my own rule because I never asked Maggie why she started her business, and come to find out she started it because her husband's got heart issues and low sodium. And next thing you know, I'm like, here I got right in my own backyard a low sodium business owner such as myself. So it's been absolutely wonderful to see all of these different people. I wanted to have everybody on the show as a final round, but because of my trip to Colorado kind of screwed things up for me. That just wasn't going to happen, because right now is the busy season for a lot of people with their crops coming in and issues. And speaking of people, Wanda Farm, who we also had on here, they also had an issue with one of their freezers. So you can't change your processing date.
Right.
If you're sending livestock to a processor, and those processing dates are months out right now, so you're booked and you plan that in advance. So he was posting all over the place, all over the farm group, that he had dozens and dozens and dozens of chickens that they had to sell off, and he was passing on discounts. And I had a few farmers had the same situation. They've blown freezers. They're like, I don't have enough space. Like, I don't know, like I got to get rid of this stuff because otherwise it's just going to go in the garbage. All the times it's like 9,000 degrees in here. I'm going to probably put my on about 9,000 times.
Your sweatshirt.
Yeah. So you guys are going to watch hot flashes in motion, because I'm going to take my sweatshirt off and put it back on, take it off and put it back on. So the power of food, we talked a little bit about, sugar, and we talked about who's right, the meat or the vegetables. Should you go vegan? Should you go vegetarian? What did you do? That was an interesting. I wish I had a camera on you so everybody could see the face that you just made, because I'm going to make a face going, what the hell was that?
What is that noise? That's crazy.
Here he says, is there no direct flight? Sometimes there is, but a lot of times you save a boatload of money when you do a up and down when you have a layover, just because that's the way it is. So yes, I literally got off a plane and we were laughing because it took longer for the pre-flight and post-flight. It was like a 12-minute flight from Denver to Colorado Springs. So we got on a plane and then got right back off. So after talking about the power of food and the things that it can do for your body and the things that it does for me and the people that I know, the question that I came up with is, can we change our habits?
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally living in a world that both simultaneously has an obesity problem and a hunger problem. So, I mean, and of course, when I was thinking about this morning, my mind went down the rabbit hole because I was listening to Bridging Civil Tensions as I was finishing up my notes.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you stop with that rabbit hole? Where do you, like, it all sounds so simple.
Yeah.
You know, be a little more open-minded and not so racist, and eat better foods and make better choices. When people ask me what my diet is, and I'm not on a diet. I eat real food.
Yeah. I told you.
What the hell?
I told you.
So for those of you that watch the show and those of you that don't, those that do know, those that don't, my old co-host Pete passed away last Thanksgiving. He was a firm believer in the metaphysical worlds.
Yes.
And hauntings and whatever. And also his method of passing, he's probably madder than hell that,
Yeah,
of all the ways to go, the way he was. So the studio has been ripe with activity this morning
and last night.
Yeah. And it's been quite comical and interesting.
It really is.
So fun times here at the studio. But so when you talk about changing your habits, and the amount of people that are absolutely flabbergasted, especially those in the medical profession, when they find out that I'm not on any medications at all. I do take vitamin D. I'm kind of a fair-skinned little white girl, so and of course during the wintertime, I'm also a fair-skinned, lazy white girl.
Yeah,
doesn't go outside.
If it gets below 70, it's cold.
No,
I don't go outside.
I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. But can we change our habits?
Gary says that's what the nuns say.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
When people ask, what's your secret? What's your trick? And my secret is that I eat real food. And a lot of people ask, like, I just went out of town for 4 days. I don't have control over what I eat. I kind of got lucky in that we opted for a B&B instead of a hotel situation. So the first thing we did is go to the grocery store, and I got yogurt, bananas, and honey. Every morning, I didn't deviate from my normal routine. I get up, I drink my water, take my vitamin pill, and it's not a multivitamin. I don't take those. I take just the vitamin D.
Yeah, nice Flintstones chewable.
Yeah. And then have my yogurt, honey, and banana.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody realized really quickly how much I eat. Like, this is first breakfast, 5 o'clock in the morning, up, yogurt, banana, honey, coffee, water, first breakfast. So at first everybody's like, what are you? Yeah, funny. Haha, first breakfast. By 6:30, 7 o'clock, when we're heading out the door, and I pull a snack bar out of my purse, and I eat 2 fig bars. Here's second breakfast. We get to wherever we're going, and they have whatever they have out. Here's third breakfast. And then come lunchtime, like, what are we eating? I ate my lunch, and then one of the guys that's with us doesn't eat very much, so I end up eating half his lunch. I'm telling you, I am not on a diet. I can eat, and I'm happy to eat, and I will eat, and I don't give a shit.
Right.
But I'm also well aware of what I'm eating, what I can and cannot eat. So it on that flip side, we went out, and someone ordered a big giant pizza. Meat lovers, bacon, everything smelled amazing, looked amazing, hand tossed, crust. It was, and I had the smallest little piece. So someone had flat out was like, "Are you feeling okay?" Because I would roll that pizza up like a burrito and eat the whole freaking thing.
Yeah.
Like,
let's go. Yeah.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not. If I was home and could let my pants loose and not care if I gained 15 pounds of water weight, that pizza would have been all mine. But I'm on a trip, and I need to be cognizant of how I'm going to feel later, how it's going to affect me later, and how the rest of my day is going to go. Because I know if I eat that pizza, I'm going to put on that much water weight, and it's going to be very, very detrimental to me.
Hey, Stacy.
So I just had one little sliver. But then later, when it was my choice of what I got to eat, full meal. And again, Joe sitting next to me gets a poke bowl. He eats half his poke bowl. I ate the rest of it was amazing. We were at this little bistro place in downtown Colorado Springs. fresh tuna on a poke bowl. Oh my God, it's so good. So good. But that's the thing. You asked me what my lifestyle is. My lifestyle is that I choose real foods, and I recognize that when I go out to eat, I pay attention to what I'm consuming.
Yeah.
So if there's an option that has real potatoes or real vegetables or the least processed options that I can have, and even still, we were literally on our way out to dinner one night and I grabbed a banana and everybody joked, like, we're going to dinner and you're eating. And I'm like, I'm not eating because I want to eat. I'm eating because this banana is going to help me regulate my sodium because I don't know where we're going. I haven't had time to research it. I don't know what kind of menu they've got. So I'm going to pick something that helps me balance and equalize my system. And because it's a real fruit, your body processes it different. You get energy boost from it. That energy helps you digest food. So all of these things come into play. And that's where, on one hand, it is super, super simple that to change your habits is to just make better decisions, to eat better food. And finding people that are on that same path is simply through asking those questions. So Umar with Organic Roots, he's turned me on to so many different types of food products that I never even would have thought of. Like spirulina and bee pollen, that I started taking bee pollen. I wish I had that list in front of me because there was a whole boatload of things. And when you go to a place like that, more often than not, if you ask the owner or people that work there, they're more than happy to educate you on all of these different things. It doesn't mean you have to align perfectly with all of the stuff that they want, um, or the stuff that they push, because, there's a lot of times that I disagree, like with the meat versus veg. I have a friend of mine who's a nutritionist. She's wholeheartedly vegetarian, borderline vegan. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that you need to have some meat in your life. So Stacy said that she's scared to eat out because she doesn't know what's in it. So that's something that comes along with time. I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So when I had to go low sodium, I literally dove in head first, eliminated everything that was in my cupboards that had anything to do with salt, read all of the labels, and started educating myself. So honestly, the best advice that I could give you is that once you start paying attention to the labels on products, it's the same patterns over and over and over again. So then when you go out to a restaurant, you're going to know how much sodium's in chicken. You're going to know how much sodium's in mayonnaise and in mustard and in ketchup and in bread. So you can kind of get an idea. And even if all you do is a quick Google search on an Alfredo sauce to get an idea of how much sodium's in those types of things that you like or dislike or whatever, you gain an idea of at least a range. So it gives you a better option. I typically tend to stick to a straight up burger, because the most processed thing on most cheeseburgers or regular burgers is the bun.
Yeah.
Outside of that, and I get it, like, especially if you have liver or kidney issues, protein is a difficult one, because protein, especially now, doctors will tell you that protein's harder to digest. It can cause issues with your liver or your kidney.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have more fats and carbs, they help regulate or
Yeah.
help your body digest the protein. So you can do those kinds of things. But even a salad or something, when you ask them for the dressing on the side, so you can kind of regulate how much of that you're consuming. The other trick with eating out is if you look at their menu before you go there. Just pull it up online, check out their menu, see what options they have, and then you can you ask those things when you get there and say, you know what, can I have this, but just not season it or whatever. And it makes a big difference. So, a lot of people will talk about food as it's some kind of cure.
Mm-hmm.
Like spinach is the end all be all superfood, or avocados are the end all be all superfood. trying to think of one that's been lately other than that. But there was another one. Coconut oil.
Yeah.
I think is one. There's quite a few of them that have been like this end all be all, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's going to cure all your ailments. Certain things like cirrhosis, it doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away.
People always talk, well, your liver can heal itself. Yes, to an extent. A damaged liver can heal itself. A scarred liver with cirrhosis and cirrhotic tissue, that's permanent. Once that scar is there, the scar is not going away. But at the same time, I don't think both sides of the coin, not only can food make a significant difference in your life for the better, it can also cause you major, major problems and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Because so many times people are like, well, I've always had gut issues. It just is what it is. And they accept it. They accept that as their normal.
So it's interesting.
And come to find out that it's something simple like you shouldn't be eating strawberries. And you're like, well, shit, I've always loved strawberries and I didn't know I shouldn't be eating strawberries.
Right. And that in my age group is I'm getting older. My knees are supposed to hurt. No, they're not.
Right.
So now we're finding out, I think, that no, these things aren't normal. You shouldn't have gut issues
all the time.
And I'm reading a book right now by Laura Di Benedetto, and she's been on Bill Hosse's show. It's called The Six Habits. Speaking of changing habits, is a great book, and if you want to change your habits, I recommend for anybody to get this. I'm almost halfway through it. It's been totally eye-opening. And the interesting thing is, we think I need to change my habit from eating what I'm eating to eating quote unquote healthy, right?
Right.
But the habit is what you've been talking about. I've got to think about what I'm putting in. I mean, we put more thought into the type of gasoline we put into our car than the food we put into our body, or the chemicals from the foods that we're eating into our body. And to me, that's interesting. So, if you see right now a gas station and the price is under $5, you immediately go, it's probably bad gas.
Right. What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it?
What's going on with that?
But you go and say, well, I can get this hamburger, French fries, shake, or iced tea all for $3.
Right.
I go, done.
Well, that's what's so funny to me is you nailed it. Like everybody's always, I need to eat this, not that. And when people ask me what diet I'm on or what my secret is, and it floors me because I get it, but when you're talking about it, and if you literally just pay attention to what you're consuming, I eat whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
I don't, there's never a time where someone's like, oh, and especially now. So I'm blessed in the fact that I have so many people in my life at this time that at least make the effort to go, can you eat there? Can you eat this? Can you eat that? Is there something here that you can eat? Or I'm having a potluck. Do I need to do anything so that you can actually consume food here?
Right.
I'm healthy enough at this point that even in the worst situations, because like when we were out in Colorado, they brought in food. The only thing there at that time were these breakfast burritos. They're amazing. And it was very simple. It's a tortilla. It's like a breakfast burrito from McDonald's, only bigger, like a normal size burrito, a giant whatever burrito. But it was just eggs, sausage, some seasoning, and a tortilla.
Cheese.
But that one giant tortilla wrap is 400 or 500 milligrams of sodium. That's a quarter of my day or a third of my day just in the wrap. The eggs, there's easily 4 eggs in this omelet or in this burrito. That is what, 280 milligrams of sodium? And the sausage, God only knows.
Right.
Beginning, and on the beginning side, it's probably 500 milligrams. So just that whole burrito is 2 days worth of sodium for me. So I ate half of it. And again, everyone's like, what? Like, oh no, believe me, I would eat 3 of those freaking burritos. Like I am a breakfast burrito junkie. I have tortillas in my cabinet at all times. But to like what Stacy said, where she's scared to eat out because she doesn't know what's in it. part of it's twofold. One, when you start paying attention to labels and you start paying attention to what is in foods, especially processed foods, and you start choosing real options. So when you look at a menu and it's something that is real options, so you're automatically going to assume that if it's poultry or pork, it's brined.
Yeah.
You're looking at 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, and that's assuming it's a 4-ounce serving. It's usually a 6 or an 8-ounce serving of meat. But when you look at stuff and say, okay, this is a salad that has real ingredients on it, so the dressing is the only thing that I have to worry about that may or may not be processed, I'm going to have it on the side so I can regulate how much that I have. But that's that once you learn those things and learn what's in it, because you eat the same things all the time. But on the flip side, once you learn to cook a little bit, then you know what's in it.
Yeah.
So if you know how to make a basic sauce, you can go, okay, they're probably going to put this, that, or the other in it. So, or, I know how to make this type of dish. So once you start learning how to cook a little bit, and even if you don't, if you just look up a recipe. So if you don't want to make lasagna, you have no ambition to learn how to cook, and you want to go out and have somebody make it, if you know what's in these ingredients and you look up a recipe and say, okay, how do I make lasagna? Well, all right, well, I can look this up and I can already tell that this is going to be out of the ballpark unless I make it myself.
Yeah.
So it's really, that's the trick, is paying attention to what you're consuming. And if you want ice cream, just make a better choice on your ice cream.
Well, and I learned, so the interesting, I always say that's the interesting thing because I find it interesting. So anyway, there you go, Derek, if you're listening, I say
whatever, who cares? We all have our things.
So here's the deal. A couple years ago, I did Noom for about a year, and I learned a lot about psychologically why I eat what I eat, when I eat, and how I eat.
Right.
This year, I started paying attention to how my body reacts. So we're one big walking chemistry set.
100%.
And what we don't do is go, let me see how my body reacts to. So I watch people now drink these energy drinks, and I am just like,
it makes my gut hurt just thinking about those things.
And I'm like, do you understand what you're and how does your body react? Now, some people, again, to your point, they can guzzle these all day long and they're skinny and nothing really happens, right? And there's some people who have a sip of one and goes, so the interesting thing, I think, is if you continue to watch how your chemistry set reacts to the type of food, you should never feel guilty, bad, or talk negatively to yourself. Because listen, Alice and the girls are headed to her mom's house this week, and I'm at the studio all day, and I'm thinking for dinner it's Jack's Pizza, and I'm going to eat the whole pizza.
Right.
And
we had DiGiorno last night,
and I'm not going to feel bad about it because, hey, it's good food, right? And it does, and my body reacts. It's not good. It tastes good, right?
Right.
But my body doesn't react.
It's better than some alternatives.
Yeah,
it's funny because there are so many things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've always said is, I get it. I get the simplicity of being able, and believe me, my husband and I, we always have frozen pizza in our freezer.
Yeah.
And I all the time. And of course he picks on me because I'll post a picture of my food. I can guarantee you that 99% of the time after I post that picture, I decide exactly how much cheese I'm going to put on it. But I've said that from the beginning. The whole reason that I make all of my stuff as low sodium as it is so that I can put half a pound of cheese on it because I want 4 servings of cheese. But I've also learned that because I have lactose issues, that the better option for me is cheddar cheeses and hard cheeses because the lactose is different. It's not, you're not reactive to it.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me. And it's funny that, see, that's what I always say. It's funny. You say, I find that interesting. And I say, I find it funny.
Now, when Alice and I came back from Door County, we stopped at Mars Cheese Castle and got the squeaky cheese curds. And I paid for that.
Yep.
But they are
so good. And sometimes you just, it's like the pizza. I mean, I didn't I'm not gonna wither away to nothing.
Yeah.
I got plenty of pounds to keep me going for a couple, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm sitting there, you know what? I have one life to live, and I wanted a piece of pizza from this place in Colorado. So I had a piece of pizza. I paid for it.
Sure.
It was amazing. Bacon. Are you kidding me? Remember the last time I had real bacon? I mean, I do eat real bacon. I get it from when I get my pork from the farm. Actually, no, my pork comes from Hidden Marsh Farms and Dykstra Farms. So I get heifer hogs and guinea hogs.
Good.
But so it's not that I don't get bacon. I just don't get it very often.
Yeah.
So to have straight up salty ass bacon with pepperoni and everything on this, it was simply amazing. And I did pay for it dearly.
Delicious.
But it was totally worth it for me. And sometimes it is, because that happiness, you're not going to be successful in anything if you're miserable.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your diet or finance or marriage or work or whatever it is. You're not going to be successful if you're miserable. If you're constantly spending your life doing nothing but counting calories and counting sodium and counting this, and I get it. Believe me, I have advanced cirrhosis and transverse myelitis. I am one of the most sensitive people to foods on the planet. Even my caffeine in the morning, when I don't have it, I can feel the difference in the inflammation in my body. I can feel the band get thicker. For those of you that don't know what that is, when you have transverse myelitis and the nerve damage I have, I feel like someone wrapped my gut around my belly button too tight with an ace bandage, like an Indian burn.
Wow.
And it gets worse and better throughout the entire day. It varies. It doesn't go away ever. And that is just the weirdest thing. Yeah. I keep thinking the little robot guy up there is like walking around or something.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I don't know if they can hear it over the radio, but there's some clicking and stuff and whatever going on.
That's never been here.
Like, we've been here how many years now? It's never happened.
Yeah.
You know what what was the doll's name? Griselda or
Glinda.
That's what I picture, is her little porcelain hands like knocking on something. That's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Look bad.
The fun thing with food and is yes, it's chemical, but like once you stop. So I love Little Debbie's, zebra cakes, nutty bars, right? And I cut sugar out. And the other day I was like, I'm just going to have one.
The memory of that.
And so I did. So I had a nutty bar. And the next day my body was like, oh, you fool. You shouldn't have done this.
Yes. Oh, 100%. You know, it's funny that you say that, because also myself, you know, I eliminated sugar a long time ago. It doesn't mean that I don't have sugar. I still love my Oreos. And I get the Oreo thins now so that I can have 4 instead of 2.
Yeah.
And I switched to goat milk instead of cow's milk. And I do. That's the only thing, other than for my bread, when I bake bread and stuff. The only thing I really use milk for is to dip cookies in. So I buy the smallest possible container you can get. And I did switch to goat's milk because I don't react to it like I do cow's milk.
Right.
To dip my cookies in. But so when I know it's a treat, it's a treat.
Yeah.
If I'm having ice cream, I'm well aware that I'm eating sugar. But if I eat it after a certain time, so if I eat anything after 7 o'clock, I'm going to store all of that weight.
Yeah. Now it's also the way that things are processed, right? Because when we were in Door County,
oh God, yes,
there's a place called Wilson's Ice Cream that is friggin' amazing. Now I had no reaction. I too have a bit of the lactose intolerance, but they had this blueberry one with chocolate covered sugar cones in it. And again, the sugar part, I reacted more to the sugar part than I did to the cream, because just the way that I think that it was processed. And this is real ice cream. I mean, this is the real deal.
That's the same. I'm the same exact way, where when it's real ingredients, same with sodium. So if I have something that has added salt or added sugar, horribly react to it. If I have something that has natural sugars or natural salts.
Yeah, like
And
your honey and
even
stuff.
when you have, I get it, like certain things that are fermented, they've had salts added to them to this fermenting process, like the soy sauces and things. But those fermented products don't affect me the same way as just putting salt on something or adding salt to something. So whatever it is in that fermentation process, but anytime all of the ingredients are real ingredients and there's no added sugars, there's no added whatevers, I can process those a lot better than I can anything else. So in my situation, when I eat sugars, not only does your liver literally process those very much like they metabolize them much like alcohol, that I break out like within an hour. My skin, you leach so much through your skin, which every time someone tells me that they have these skin issues, whether it's dry skin or I always want to call it cirrhosis, but it's not cirrhosis. What is it? Psoriasis?
Psoriasis, yeah.
They're slowly starting to discover how much your gut biology and your gut biome affect not only things like that, but neurological things, depression and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and stroke patients, like all of these things they're discovering that are whittling down into your gut and how much power that has. So what happened? My phone just went nutso.
See?
Man,
it's crazy in
does
here
he not
today.
like what I'm talking about? Like he leaves us alone when we start talking about Pete? Should we just talk about Pete for now?
Let's just do it.
But the power of that, and I always say you don't know how bad you feel until you feel better.
Yeah.
I say it almost every episode, and there's so much truth to that.
There is.
And it's hard. I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy because it sounds easy. Make a lifestyle choice, make better choices. But when it takes weeks, what do they say? I think it takes like 21 days to make a habit or change a habit. So if you want to get up every day at 5:00 instead of 5:30, you got to do it for damn near a month straight before you get in that rhythm and create a habit to do that type of thing. So whether it's what time you get up or it's what you eat, or whatever your habit that you're trying to make, you have to do it for damn near a month straight. So you have to commit. And when you have to commit to a complete lifestyle change and say, I'm not going to eat meat, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that, I'm going to go full blown vegan, and I'm going to go that you're not going to succeed.
Right.
If you make better choices and say, okay, I'm going to eat meat twice a week, and I'm going to eat vegetables 3 times a week and fish 2 times a week, or, when you make those changes to say, I'm going to make a healthier option. Instead of saying, I can't have this ever again, regardless of what it is. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going from meat to no meat or vice versa. It's when you make these huge dietary or lifestyle changes and expect the fact that you did it for a week and it's going to stick, it takes a little bit more of a commitment than that.
Well, I think a lot of it for me is so I've challenged myself this year to not drink alcohol. So here we are at the end of 6 months. I haven't had a drink or a drop. And what I'm realizing is I would drink out of pure habit, not for the want or need of alcohol, or even to the way alcohol made me feel. It was, oh, I'm at a mixer. Oh, look, there's wine or there's beer. I'll just partake.
Yeah.
So now that I've challenged myself to not, now I look at it and go, oh, the only reason I wanted to grab that was not that I wanted alcohol. It was that's just what you did.
Yeah.
And I'm finding the same with food is, why do I want the sugar right now? Or why? And I start talking myself through the process to try to understand, is my body saying I need it, or is my mind going, yeah, it's just what we do?
There's we did an episode quite a while ago about cravings and whether or not because you look all over the place and there's stuff everywhere that says if you're craving almonds, it's because you're deficient in this. The fact of the matter is that most people don't know the difference between being hungry and being thirsty. So if you're so in tune to your body that you can say, I'm craving this, so it must mean I need magnesium.
Yeah.
Bullshit. There's no scientific proof to validate any of that. You're hungry, you're not hungry. They have shown a little bit when it comes to craving sweet or salty.
Mm-hmm.
Much like birds that, lick certain things because they need the calcium and whatnot. But when you talk about micronutrients and you're saying that you're eating this because your body is subconsciously or unconsciously telling you that you need potassium or magnesium or manganese or iron, half the people that I talk to don't even know that you need that stuff. Like they have no clue. So you're craving food because you're craving food because you have a habit to eat something at that time or that place or in that situation, whether it's emotional or non emotional, or just because you're bored. Like we're all guilty of that. You open the fridge and you look for something to eat and you stand there for 10 minutes because you want something. Yeah. And then you're aggravated because there's nothing in there and you're going, well, what the shit? So when you surround yourself with better choices. So in my house, it doesn't mean my husband loves Twizzlers. They're horrible for you. It's a gelatin sugar stick dyed red. They're not good for you, but he loves Twizzlers. So I always have Twizzlers. It's one of the few snacks that we have in the house. Mine is Oreos. I love Oreos. And I also like ice cream. I've also switched because in my life, in my age, with my health, especially now that I switched from working in retail where I was walking 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
I put on almost 25 pounds working from home for 9 weeks because when I first shifted to working from home, I was primarily in my office behind my desk. Yep. At least now I'm more active. But the most successful I've ever been at losing weight is if I stop eating and don't eat anything after 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And that has scientific merit. Like they've shown because you have that circadian rhythm of your body with the day and nighttime hours, your body stores food differently when you eat later on in the day, when your metabolism is starting to slow down to shut your body down to go to sleep and recoup and regenerate. So you store foods and fats and you process things differently if you eat later on in the day. That is just proven. So if you can avoid eating after 7 p.m.
So last night,
you're intermittent fasting.
So yesterday, and I intermittent fast. I eat between the hours of 11 and 7. Those are my 8. That's my 8 hour
I do
window.
my best to try and do the same.
Me too. And so I usually do not now. I've been doing it now for 3 or 4 months. And now if I eat after 7:30, it probably gives me about a half hour. But if I eat like at 8, I can't sleep at night. I wake up bloated. So I was here in the studio working till I didn't get home till about 10 after 10. Well, I ate at 10:30 in the morning. That was it was just a busy day, and that was the only time I had. I didn't just my day ran me crazy, and I didn't get home till 10 after 10. But I was hungry, so I was like, well. We've got, shaved ham. So I was like, I'm just going to sit here and eat some shaved ham. And slept like crap. Wake up, I'm like,
Yep.
But I need it because I'm like, there's no way with the schedule today at the studio that I'm going to be able to break away for lunch until we're done with In the Know with Steph and Joe.
Right.
Airs at 3,
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So I'm not eating until 4:30. So I'm like, I've got to eat something because I can't go 30 hours without eating.
And that's what's funny is I tried eating later in the day, like in the morning, not eating early. But the problem is because of my liver disease and because I metabolize things differently, if I don't have that breakfast, that yogurt and banana, or even if it's just a banana, even if it's just a handful, I get cocoa covered almonds. So even if it's something like that, if I don't get something in my belly within the first half hour of waking up, I don't have enough energy and I will literally start getting tremors by lunchtime.
Yeah, Alice, I don't know if Alice gets the tremors, but she's the same way. She tried the intermittent fasting. She's like, I
But you
have to
can't go that long.
I have to eat something
Yep.
when I wake up. I'm like, well, then you do it.
And that's once you start learning, and that's the messed up thing is genetically. We've been talking about this quite a bit in the last few episodes in this Power of Food series, where your body and what's right for you is not what's right for every. So even in my world of low sodium, when you're talking to people who are low sodium and people go, how can you eat so much protein, or how can you do this, or how,
Right.
everybody's body is different. Your genetic makeup is different. Your genealogy from your heritage
Mm.
of where you've come from is very impactful in how your body processes things. If your heritage is nothing but people who've eaten like Gary, from if his heritage is nothing but people from
Yeah.
Singapore and he moved to the United States and all of a sudden starts feeding his kids hamburgers and french fries. And I know they have hamburgers and french fries in Singapore, but you know what I mean? Like if you make that switch, your gut biology.
By the way, speaking of hamburgers, I grilled some hamburgers the other night.
See, I have only had one breakfast today, so I'm
and
starving.
And put a little mayonnaise, real mayo, right? Peanut butter, and some Little Bird Kitchen cowboy coins on it, and it was to die for.
Yeah, my husband puts so much of that cowboy candy. He's got the triple X.
Oh, he's got the hot sauce. Ooh,
yeah,
God bless.
He puts hot sauce on the hot triple X stuff.
Oh my God!
Like literally, he puts the triple X cowboy candy.
Well, if you want the scorpion spit over here,
right?
You want to take it home to Ben? Take it, because that ain't.
Oh, that was Pete's scorpion stuff. Yeah,
that ain't getting eaten here.
Rice diet to meat diet and potato. Yeah,
right.
But that's the thing is, so when people are like, "How can I'm the self-proclaimed potato slut? I will eat potatoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love potatoes, fried, boiled, whatever." I mean, I was the one who was the little girl that was sticking my hand up in the bowl of water when my mom was soaking the potatoes and stealing raw potatoes as a kid. That's just how it was.
Gary says, do you have to be talking about hamburgers? It's midnight over here. Oh. He's trying to rest. He got the vid. So we're praying for him, and hopefully all is well. But
that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Had that a couple times.
We know. Yeah.
Been there. Been there. Times. Done that. But yeah, your gut biology, and I had a conversation with someone not too long ago and said, so until you can say that they took however many people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever, and tested them every single day for a certain, a month straight or 6 months straight, whatever they wanted to do, to do an actual clinical trial and say, how many times have you had cancer? Have you had, markers for like COVID or the flu or mono or whatever it may be that your body has eliminated. And then you look at like the beneficial bacteria in your gut. My bacteria DNA, as you'd call it, or my map in my gut is completely different than yours. And unique to me in what I've evolved through what I received from my mother and what my bloodline and my genetic makeup is. And not only that, but my lifestyle and my environment that I'm around on a daily basis has also changed what makes it easier for me to digest and not digest. And some people are sensitive to milk. Some people are sensitive to onions or garlic or meat. Or I have a friend who's a vegetarian simply because all of his life meat has made him sick. He's like, I like animals, but it was never I don't want to eat anything with a face. It's every time my parents fed me anything that was an animal protein, I would literally throw up within 10 minutes. So they just stopped feeding me meat. When I tried again when I was older, didn't work out. As a teenager, tried again in his 20s, didn't work out. See, he just doesn't, it's always made him sick.
Yeah.
So he's learned to not eat it. And the problem is to make that kind of change to your habit takes time. Not only does it take time to change a habit, to do an elimination diet properly to find out what your body is sensitive to. So if you do an allergy test, they scratch you, a bunch of stuff, you're allergic to cats, dogs, strawberries, watermelon, fish, whatever, all the normal markers. They get an instant reaction. What they've also discovered is underlying allergies. It's not quite an allergy. It's more like an autoimmune response. Mm-hmm. So onions, for instance, seem to be a trigger, or anything in the allium family, onions, garlic, whatever. So you test fine on an allergy test or scratch test. You're not allergic to it. But come to find out that your body is sensitive to that, and that's what's causing your distress and your inflammation, because you can't process in high doses. So if you're eating it all the time, it's almost like that Munchausen by proxy, where someone is poisoning you and you don't realize it because you've been consuming small amounts of it over a long period of time, and your body shouldn't be eating that. Yep. And they're slowly just beginning to learn that, because the study of food is still in its infancy.
Yeah. So Gary says there's a Malay food there, which is essentially a round flat potato fritter. And fried potato is mashed with ground beef, mixed with scallions, and seasoned with white pepper, shaped into round patties, dipped in beaten egg dip, and then deep fried.
And you were yelling at me for talking about burgers.
No, that sounds like heaven.
That's not fair.
That sounds like heaven.
I know. Can we transport that into the studio? Right. You kidding me? That was just me. Well, can we kick him off the show?
Here's the other thing, too, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you'll know better than I do, but most people are dehydrated.
100%.
So your body isn't filtering or pushing through. Water is your best friend.
Correct.
And people just don't drink enough water.
That's the understatement of the century. So even myself, the irony is that for people like me, mm-hmm. who retain water, mm-hmm. and there's so much more to it than just, it's the same with sodium. When people are like, oh, well, if you're low in sodium, you just eat more salt. It's not how your blood sodium levels and the levels of things in your blood, you need everything working perfectly to maintain those levels. So when your body isn't balanced, so like, for instance, my trip to Colorado, I'm still, and will take me almost a month to deal with that water weight without the add of pills.
Yeah.
So unless I take water pills, which I do not want to take, I react poorly to those. They'll get rid of my water in a day, but I have to deal with this for a month. So the irony is I need to drink more water to get rid of my water.
Yeah.
Because by drinking more water, it kicks my kidneys into overdrive, which means I pee all the freaking time. And it's annoying. And that's what's funny. Everyone's like, oh, but when I drink more water, I got to go to the bathroom all the time. You're supposed to.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked the dog? Like, not to compare people to dogs, but have you walked the dog and they pee on everything? They pee all the time. Yeah. Like, if we were left to our own devices and we're wild and crazy, tromping around in the woods, you're not going to be like, oh my God, I got to walk all the way to the bathroom. You're just going to pee all the time. You got to go, you go.
You go.
So you're supposed to. That's your body filtering everything out of your body like it's supposed to do. So if you're not drinking enough water, there's nothing to wash that sludge out of your blood.
There's none.
So it just circulates in your blood. Hello, Lisa.
Kirk Azinger was the 1988 Big Ten wrestling champion at his given weight, and I worked with Kirk. And he told me, he says, if you think you're hungry, you're more than likely thirsty.
100%.
And he says, the problem with a lot of people, of course, being
they mistake it for hunger.
They mistake it for hunger. So I grab a candy bar at the gas station or something, bag of chips or whatever, instead of drinking a big glass of water. A room, and not ice cold. It's just you drink a cool glass of water or whatever. But he said that you'd be amazed at the amount of weight you can lose if you just hydrate yourself properly.
Yeah, and so Lisa says if she doesn't drink enough water, she gets swelling and water tension. And you do, because if you don't, it really is, if you don't have enough water for your kidneys to flush things out of your system, then your body goes, I don't know when I'm going to get water again. I'm going to store this shit like a camel. I'm going to keep it. And it's no different than anything else. When you're out of balance and you just eat to eat, which is fine, But when you're not paying attention to what you're consuming and your
Yes.
body says, I don't know when I'm going to get sugar again. I don't know when I'm going to get fat, healthy
Mhm.
fats again, not just fat. Like there are a lot of healthy
Mhm.
fats. So when you're not going to get those and it starts storing stuff to store stuff because it doesn't know what to do. So not only that, if you're eating foods and you're dehydrated and you don't have essentially that lubricant
Yeah.
almost to get things to keep going through your body, and I get it. Like the full-blown disclaimer, because I'm sure somebody will yell at me that if you have kidney disease, your kidneys can be overtaxed if you're consuming a lot of water and it turns your kidneys on and kicks them into overdrive. Like obviously you have to be mindful. And if you're actually ill with some kind of disease or syndrome, any changes you want to do under the advice of a doctor. But 99% of the time, the majority of your issues can be improved by drinking more water, drinking less garbage. I think it's hilarious that you can drink a case of soda or a case of beer or a pot of coffee and not bat an eye. But if
Yeah.
I had you drink a pot of water instead of that pot of
I
coffee,
can't do it.
oh my God, that sounds so awful. I can't do that.
No. Here's what I would do is we're talking about and we're wrapping up the power of food here and the changing habits is
Oh,
what
now I want banana bread.
what habits are you asking them to change? The way they eat or the way they think about food? Or both?
The way they think about food, because you don't need, I mean, you do need to change what you eat, but you
Mhm.
don't necessarily have to change what you eat. You need to make better decisions. So if you're going to have macaroni and cheese, pick a better option. Either make it yourself
Yeah.
or find an option with more real ingredients.
Cheese powder is not cheese.
No. And you know what? It's funny because in my low sodium group, it's really popular because there's a lower sodium option of
Mhm.
the cheese powder. And I get it. Like if you're a cheese
Mhm.
popcorn kind of person, then go ahead and buy the stuff that's the option that you can have. But that's where the biggest compliment that I ever get is when someone tells me, I looked at the label, instead of picking the Hormel chili, I picked this chili because because of you, I read the label and went, holy crap, this one's got 9,000 milligrams of sodium and 52 grams of sugar. So I picked the option that's a little healthier. That is the best compliment that I can get, is that
Mhm.
you were simply aware of what you're putting in your body and made a better choice.
Yep. And so the challenge is this for everybody. The challenge is challenge your habits,
Yeah.
right? To change through the month of July. So Living Low Sodium is working on their next episodes series. So they'll be off. So the live on Friday mornings will not be through the month of July. It'll come back in August and with a whole new series. We'd love to hear from you on how the changing of habits here in July has happened. Now, understand this is a great month to do it. This is 4th of July, family picnics, being out on the boat, all that kind of good stuff. So,
You'll be surprised how good you feel about yourself
yeah.
when it doesn't mean I don't go and have those parties and events, but when I pick to have more of the fruit from the fruit platter and only one burger or one whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like you just make better choices. Pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to what you're putting in your
Yeah.
body, read the labels, and you'll learn what the good options are, and you can still have everything you want to have. Just change your habits a little bit.
And Gary says last 2 days of high fever with no appetite even for food has resulted in him losing about 5 kilos. It's about 11 pounds for Americans.
That's a lot
Maybe
to
I
lose
need
in 2
a
days.
few more episodes of it. Nope, that's the wrong kind of diet. I wouldn't necessarily say that,
No.
but
I will tell Gary, drink a lot of
yeah.
water. That's going to be your saving grace. Is if you can get a banana or something in you and drink a lot of water, it'll at least keep your sugars
and
up.
I am absolutely 100% with Lisa. It is a psychological thing. She says, I drink a lot of water, but for some reason I'll drink tons more if it's with a straw.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. And for me, put ice in it. If I can have ice water, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I need that. So
wonderful. Well, thank you for listening. We will be back the 1st of August, I think, or the first week of August. I can't remember what the date is.
Yeah, but we'll be
5th,
there.
August 5th, we'll be back.
5th,
but
we'll
yes,
be back.
please follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe. The more followers we have, the more luxuries we have. And we will see you in
There you go. Of course, for all of us here, 2169, thanks for getting caught in the net with us. This has been Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Come back at 1 for the Neighborhood Pulse, and then at 3 for In the Know with Steph and Joe. For all of us here, enjoy today. Remember to be good. More importantly, be good to each other.
That's so funny. I shared the wrong post.